just reparations for slavery. We could talk about so many other things, but because slavery ties into so much, people don't even understand how deep this conversation is. This is why this is the episode 1 of reparations, because this will be a series, because it has to be. This conversation has to be continued. And the thing about Trive Vibe, I'm not just here to talk about an issue. I'm not just here to talk about the people, who are against us in the issue, but I'm also here to find resolutions and to introduce them to the situation so that we can know how to move accordingly, So I don't just come here to fuss about it, but I also come with resolve. So let's get into this reparations. Now, who deserves reparations is the first question that I want to discuss, right? All right. Point blank, period. The short answer is the slaves and descendants of slaves. That's the people who deserve reparations. And black slaves, African slaves, all right? Because it started there and it came here. One thing I want to get clear about this slavery thing, and I want to make sure that we put this on the book so you can start understanding it and let this be what you understand moving forward, and take that other conversation off the table. Slavery was initiated by the Portuguese in Africa. And the initial slaves were criminals of war or prisoners of war. So when you had a rival tribe and you fought them and they lost, you took in, their people, and they worked for you, and they were indentured to you or whatever. So when the Portuguese came, they decided that not only were they going to take those people, but they were going to treat them badly. They were never going to allow them, because when we took slaves, they just worked with us. Like, they had to do our labor and stuff. But as far as unless they really did something, there were people that were actually prisoners of war, and then there were captives who actually now became part of the tribe and, had to do things that we did in that individual tribe. And that's something you have to understand, because us as Africans, we never did anything malice other than war when we were against you, and we were doing bows and arrows and rocks and stones and stuff like that. And then here comes the Portuguese and the white man with the guns. So we learn about how to use guns, and then that's when it gets lethal to that extent. But before we're, killing animals with these same weapons, we're killing our rivals who may be trying to steal our food or take over our land. That's what we're fighting for, as an individual. But we're not going to purposely steal people to take them back to work our lands, or to rape them, or to treat them badly, put them in experiments and stuff like that to see what, vile things that we can do or we can't do. We weren't into that stuff. The Portuguese introduced that to Africa, and it was Western and Central Africa per se. It wasn't that was something that we were just doing. So the Americans and the Africans, we need to let that, you sold your people and this is why. No, we were fooled into thinking that they were doing the same thing that we were doing. And then we wanted to trade for other goods, and perhaps services. So when we started to learn what they were doing, then that's why slavery went from 1776 to 1865. Because and it ended a little earlier in Africa, because once the Africans found out what were happening to their people, they cut it off, So that's the missing link that a lot of people don't understand, the time frame of slavery, how long it lasted, and, who was rightfully so a slave. So you have the African slaves that initially came over, and due to rape and due to, incest and all the other stuff that the white slave owner allowed to happen on the plantation to produce more stock as they saw it, they were able to create, American slaves as well as African slaves. And then as time went on, eventually the African slaves died off because they weren't no longer being shipped over. And then they were just American slaves, which then American slaves became freed slaves. And then they had children who then became working, individuals into the society. And then here we are today. So that explains the connection of why there's slaves and their descendants of slaves. So you have slaves from Africa who have family over there who rightfully get reparations. And you have family here in America who rightfully so